Hi, I'm Jeremiah. Welcome to Up at Night. This podcast is all about learning from thought leaders, academics, and professionals based on one fundamental question. What keeps you up at night? Welcome to Up at Night. Today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, a guy that will make you smile, hopefully laugh sometimes too. I'm joined by Pantelis. Pantelis, for those who don't know, is an amazing comic. He's a guy based in Montreal, but also a growing name internationally. So Pantelis, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about you, not the character, but who was Pantelis growing up, and ultimately, how did you end up choosing this lifestyle and this career as a job, so to speak?
It wasn't planned. Like, I always loved comedy. I loved stand-up. I got into podcasting in 2010, which was pretty early for everyone else. But that was the time I was working at the Electronic Arts. I was in video games. I was in video game development. So I was just doing it on the side as a passion. And I saw a bit of the future of what was coming. And I was trying to convince people of what podcasts hold. This was 2010. No one understood it. They were like, you're wasting your time. What is that internet radio? They couldn't grasp like the monetary value that it had, the reach that you can get, the niche that you can create. So I was just doing it by myself mostly. It was just my buddy Mike Ward, who ended up at the same time, before we knew each other, was also doing it here. And then in 2012, I started stand-up. I just went to an open mic. I thought it wasn't going to be funny. For other people that don't know me, it turned out it was the opposite. People liked me. So that started rolling, and I was still working. I was a producer. I got into virtual reality, augmented reality. I was in mobile labs. I was mostly in the tech sector for a while. And then around 2017, I took a huge risk, and I said, you know what? I'm going to incorporate myself, and I'm going to try to do the dream. I'm going to try to do contracts on the side where I could consult, because I had gotten to such a level in just project management and all that I could consult internationally. And I'll try to build this comedy thing, this podcasting. So it was I remember being so scared. It was November of 2017, and just being like, what am I doing? This is crazy. I'm just taking on all this burden, right? There's no cash flow. I got to go find my clients. So it was pretty nuts, but I really I felt in podcasting, mostly more than stand-up, that there was a future. So I doubled down. I did that. It was up and down. Then I met Mike Ward in 2018. He pushed me to do a podcast with him called 2 Drink Minimum. That's how we started 2 Drink Minimum, which then blew up, and it gave me so many opportunities. I got to Just for Laughs that year. We went to Joe Rogan 2018. There were so many doors that were opening, but I always have a business mindset. So I was always thinking of what's the next thing that I can do adjacent. So while I'm doing stand-up and while I have the tour and while I have my own podcast, I started a podcast studio. And then there's rentals for that. There's other podcasters that want to start. And I really study the market of just marketing and social media marketing, and also return on investment for advertisers. So I was lucky that in the beginning, it was a lot of American advertisers like Manscaped and people that were kind of early to podcasting, but there's no connection. And I got lucky. Actually, Polysleep is one of the first that I was so happy to do, because it was local and it was before we knew each other. But it was just people were like, oh, and then it was products that I actually liked. So I ordered pillows, and then I got my family to order. So then my friends were like, hey, you were right about the pillows, the mattresses. And so I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I said something on the podcast. I used it as well. I saw the weight that it carried, and I was like, man, there's something to this. There's something to podcasting. There's something to having that connection with people. I don't need, like, a company doesn't need to spend $400,000 or $200,000 on a Sid Lee commercial to make an impact. It doesn't matter. They need to find someone that an audience can connect with that actually likes a product. It's like, fuck, there's another angle here. This is another business model, you know? So now I have like these 3 silos that I'm doing. I'm doing my podcasting, the stand-up. At the same time now we're building, because we have all the equipment. I work with a lot of film people. We're doing ads for companies, especially a lot of startups that are starting up, to put them online. And it's a fraction. We're doing the same quality, but a fraction of the cost. And what we're doing is we're putting a guarantee. Some of them are it's views. You know how it is on social media. People they want to be seen. So what we're doing with the creative team is we're guaranteeing, well, how much are you looking for? 500,000? Okay. If we see in the first month it didn't reach that, then our idea didn't hit. It's at our expense. We're creating a new one. And we're going to make sure that we get those numbers at no cost to the. So we're changing kind of the model of how things are going for social media marketing and using influencers in a proper way, not just having someone be like, "Hello, this is a vape." So it's just I couldn't. Now I'm finally merging my creative mind with my business mind, and it's a lot of work. You know how it is being an entrepreneur. You never sleep. But I'm telling you, Jeremiah, I'm having the most fun now. Not being able to sleep, but I'm having the most fun now because I get to do so many different things. I'm touring at the same time as I'm doing this. Imagine.
That is so cool because ultimately you developed your platform doing what you love, but then keeping that business acumen, that business mindset, like you said, you stay close to what truly matters for people who are going to pay you to do that in a way, right?
Yep.
So tell me a bit more about that process. Where did you develop that business mindset? Was it because you work in big companies, or is it because of your dad that was an entrepreneur? How did you even start thinking about this?
It's strange because it's one of those things where you surround yourself with the right people. Because when I was young, none of my friends, I didn't have entrepreneurs around me. I had hard workers around me. So I'm someone who I'll always work. Oh, you don't feel like it was enough? I'll make sure I get it. I'm not one of those people that's like, well, here it is. That's what you get. I've never had that mindset. So having the hard work mindset and then getting to work with, I've worked with like some of the best business minds around in the last decade. I've been so lucky. The meetings that I've been part of, the events that I got to take. So I see the sacrifices they would make and how they would work and how serious they took the ROI, how serious they took. If somebody's investing their time or their money in me, how important it is to return something to them. And it's the same way I view my podcast and my stand up. People are paying money that they worked for to come see me. I have to deliver. People want to advertise, I have to deliver. People want to listen to the podcast, I have to deliver. So I merge all those things together. Plus, I'm creative. I like to create things.
Yeah.
And now I'm finding that I would say niche, but the way the people that are speaking to me now, the way it looks like is a lot of people were looking for that exit. A lot of companies were looking for that. Why am I spending $200,000 on a commercial that 4 people are going to see that no one cares? It's not something that's going to engage them. I'd rather get people who know what they're doing. They already have a connection and build on that and
Yep.
spend a fraction. Well, it's a lot of money, dude. It's a lot of money that they spend on marketing right now that doesn't go anywhere. That they'll make these beautiful commercials that don't matter.
You're right, because these beautiful commercials don't create what people are craving for, which is connection. Everything is digital now. People really love more and more to go to shows, conferences, concert. Price of concerts went through the roof. Price of live venue went through the roof. But people still love going there because that's where you have this humane connection.
Yep.
You're absolutely right about that. I want to talk a bit about the stand-up, the comedy world, because everybody see really obviously the positive side, the fun side. You go to a show, you enjoy, you have an hour and a half of good time, then you go back home. Tell me a little bit about the other side. How, with a non-conventional approach like yours, end up in this world, and what are the sacrifices you have to do to achieve success? And are these sacrifices even guaranteeing any sorts of success? You've been surrounded with pretty successful people. I think about Mike is a great example. In Canada, he's probably one of the most known comic there. You've seen probably a lot of people failing as well, putting a lot of effort. So tell me a bit more about that.
So the majority of people fail, and it's just statistics. It's just how it is. It's not every rock that's gonna end up being a diamond. It's just how it is. The sacrifices though are endless. You're gonna sacrifice like any entrepreneur. You're gonna sacrifice your self-respect. You're gonna go into rooms when you're starting out where there's 4 people, and they're like, "What is this?" You're gonna sacrifice time. You're gonna sacrifice relationship, and you're gonna be scared because in your early years where you're young and you want to be making money, you won't be making any money. So at all. You're gonna be losing money. So it's a big risk. It's kind of like a roll of the dice. You really need to believe in yourself and believe that you're not delusional. Because the thing with comedy and all the arts is there's always that layer where you're like, am I not that funny? Am I not that good? Is this a delusion? Am I wasting my best years? So, and that guy gets you. That a lot of people fall into depression. It's it's easy to fall into alcoholism. There's alcohol everywhere at bars. That's why it's rare you'll catch me drinking. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I try to stay clear headed because I have that business side of me. Hey, this is work. I'm at work right now. I got to respect this. But honestly, Jeremiah, you sacrifice everything. You sacrifice everything in the hopes that you're right. And then even sometimes when you write, sometimes you think about, like, I've sacrificed a lot and I think about, was it worth it? Would I be able, knowing everything I know now, to go back in time and go through all the downtimes again? I don't know that I'd be able to put my body and my mind through that again.
That resilience you've built over time doing that, it's probably waves. There's a lot of positives. The negatives must be brutal sometimes. How did you build that resiliency in the early stage when you were younger, when you're doubting yourself?
I would see, I didn't want to let anyone down. So what happened is I would want to quit. I'd be like, I can't do this. It's, it's too much. It's too hard. It's whatever. And then I'd be like, what about the people that believe in me? There's a lot of people that believe in me, friends, family. That are like, I believe in this guy. I think he could do it. And then I was like, man, what are they going to think? I can't. They have, like, now it's not just me that I'm taking down. I'm going to take down other people with me. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. So you find that motivation. And mine was always that I didn't want to disappoint anyone.
That's good. That's good because, like you said, everybody have different triggers, different things that motivates them, and finding this one was probably quite revealing and important for you.
Yeah.
What would you say to a kid now that's listening to this today and is wondering, could be an artist, different field, right? But what would you tell him with your experience today? This is what something you should keep in mind or focus on during the early stages.
Just do it. You're gonna find a million reasons to not do it. Just find that one reason to do it. Because now you have way less roadblocks to start. Because you don't. We have this image online where people think if you're doing something, let's say you're a musician or a comedian, you have to be the Dave Chappelle of that world, or there's no point, which is crazy. Which is crazy. Like Polysleep, for example, I'm sure when it started, it wasn't the biggest name in the mattresses. I was out west. I sent you a message. I'm there in Vancouver. I'm at the mall. I see a Polysleep ad. I got so excited. I was like, those are my guys. That's Polysleep. But it's something that started here. It's something that started as an idea, but it would have never, if you thought, oh, week one, I'm not international. I'm not all over the country. It's not worth it. You would have never done anything. But you knew. You're like, no, it starts here. But where it's going to end, nobody knows. It's the same thing. I have my nephews, I tell them the same thing. Well, this is your time right now to try. You have nothing to lose. Let's say you try your best and you fail miserably and it's something that you find out you're not good at or you can't do or you don't want to do. What's the worst that could happen? You're right back where you started right now. The risk is minimal, especially when you're young. So go ahead, give everything you have. And if it's for you, the second you see a little door opening, don't give up for anyone. If you see there's a crack there and you could do it, don't let anything stop you. Just keep going. There's nothing you could. Life is very short. What would you rather do? Work at a cubicle where you're getting paid but you're not happy, or try your best? You could always go back to the cubicle. Those jobs are always going to be there. If all else fails, and I have to return to project management tomorrow, especially with my experience, I could get a job tomorrow. I could go back to those if I needed to. So what's the point of not risking it now and just trying?
I love this. I love this approach. I also would like to expand upon that brilliant idea that you had to combine this passion and this talent you have, but also to monetize it in a pretty clever way. So, did you have people around you? Did you have people who influenced you in building, let's say, the podcast studio or the filming gigs that you're doing now? How did that evolve throughout the year?
So it's amazing that you mentioned that, because in the beginning it was just losing money. You can't make, because no one knows. People are scared to invest in podcasts. Like, what is this? So it was very difficult in the beginning. I was just losing money, but I believed that in the long run I'd figure something out. And then it was early adopters. It was companies like yours that saw something that would then invest a bit of cash. And even though it's not like, Polysleep is in there, they're millionaires. It's not the case, but it shows faith and legitimizes things. And then it shows other companies, hey, wait a second. What the hell does Polysleep know that I don't know? Why are they getting involved in podcasts? It's the same thing with other companies. They'll see, what do they know? And no one wants to be last, even though they can't all be first. So a lot of them, so then I noticed, I go, hey, wait a second. All you need is to show examples of something working. It's just new to people. Don't expect them to know what I know. I've been in this since 2010. So I can't expect them to know what I know. I got to show them slowly. So in showing them, slowly, people started adopting it more. And then I just started asking one question, Jeremiah, what do they need? What do you need? What are they looking for? I can't make for you, for example, I can't make you a mattress. You have that. You don't need that from me. What do you need? So then when I started looking at the return on investment they need, I was like, oh, this is something I could offer. They need to save money on commercials. They need to do this. Okay, this is this I could do. This I could do. This I could do. So I'm gonna offer the things that I'm good at that I know I can do, and the rest is not for me. I shouldn't get involved in that. And so now that's what we're doing. Now I'm mixing all this up and I monetized it because I'm able to give people or companies, it depends who comes looking, what they want. And if sometimes it happens that I can't, I've had products that it's funny because the products that pay the craziest amount of money are stuff that I don't want to advertise because I don't do any of them. They're not for me, whether it's vape companies or whatever. And I go,
Yeah. Yeah.
the money's good, but I can't do this because I don't vape. So you're not going to get the return you think you are. You could use the clips or whatever, but it's like, it's not something I know about. I can't. So you have to say no. You have to be willing to say no to a lot of stuff to keep some integrity, or else it's going to be like, oh, he just sells or she just sells anything. And if you don't know what you're selling, you don't like it, it comes off in the art.
When did you think that shift happened? Because we see it more and more. I see it with my company. I see it with people I coach. Traditional media still have a place and we still use it. But from a performance standpoint, like you said, from a return on investment standpoint, podcast, not large influencers like big names, but micro influencer, people who have their own small little audience tends to perform better and better and better. You started pretty early, 2010. When did you see that shift happening? And when did you really started, like you said with us, saying like, yeah, we're sitting on a mine, on a gold mine here, and it's going to be something in the upcoming years?
There was a few moments. There was in 2012 when I started doing comedy, and I got a couple of like my podcast when I first started, when it went from 10 listeners to like 2,000. I was like, this is I was like, this is insane. And now 2,000 is funny because you'll get that in the first hour of posting something on iTunes. But it was just at the time it was groundbreaking. And then I would get emails. I would get little stories. Oh, I've been through that. I thought about this, and it was like, wow, that's so weird that I have that connect. You can't gauge it. You're like, that's weird that someone is listening to me, a stranger, and they feel that connection. And then little things start to happen. I don't remember the year, but it was a Polysleep ad on I think it was the Pantelis podcast, not to drink minimum, because it was a story that I had said to the mattress, and someone had sent me an email about a purchase they made, and then be like, oh, and now I can do this. And he used to, I think it was her boyfriend. They used to sleep on the floor without a mattress, and she had told me the story, and I was like, that's so funny that they listened to it. It had an effect, and then they go, I listen to this person all the time, so I have a connection with them. I want to tell them about this purchase because they talked about their positive purchase. I'm so connected to this person. I feel like I have to share their story. And I remember thinking, I go, there's something stranger that I don't know how to gauge, that the connection that we're building is more than just someone you see on a screen, because they're personal stories. You carry them with you. So I have like 5 podcast apps. So if you especially speak both languages, you have so much content of me. So you get to know me in a way that I can't get to know you. So then you connect through these little things that, oh, he does that, I can do that too. I'm going to go to the showroom and tell him about my purchase or my experience at that restaurant or this. And that connection, when I start to notice that we have that connection, that's when I realize that, okay, everyone wins. The people listening are getting an authentic person that they like. The people investing in the podcast are getting a return that you can't pay for. It's a return that the biggest actor won't make a difference if he doesn't have that connection. And the people listening are getting a return because they're like, I'm happy that I'm connecting with like real people. And that's why I believe that podcasts are but real podcasts like that, like niche, not just because there's some podcasts that they'll just take a radio show and they'll clip it and put it online. They go, now it's a podcast because it's available online. Technically, yes, but there's a reason why the radio was failing. And it's not because it wasn't available online. That's not the reason.
I like it. I like it. That's pretty cool. And that aspect of being genuine and doing what you like is probably, in my opinion, one of the most critical one as to why you should start doing a podcast. But you have tremendous experience doing that. Could you give a bit of advice to people who are thinking, maybe they have a company like me and they're like, oh, everybody told me you got to start doing your own podcast. And as you know, now I have 2 of them.
Yeah.
I really love this one because it's very selfish. I get to learn about people like you. I love it. But people who start a podcast, who are thinking starting of a podcast, what should they think about and what should be the first couple of steps and advices you would give them?
So biggest advice is go in with no expectations. You know how it is in the beginning. You're jumping into this vast pool of podcasts, and you could have you're like, my God, this is an amazing podcast, and nobody cares. And it's not because it's not good. It's because they haven't gone to. There's so much out there. You need to take time with it in the beginning, and don't focus too much on superfluous. Some people are like, I need to have a $9,000 camera, and I need this. None of it matters when it's podcast. First of all, the only thing that does matter is audio. Just get a good microphone, and the rest, you can have a still image, but a good audio, and people will watch and listen to that podcast more than a 4K camera and garbage audio. So audio always first in podcasts. Remember, that's the best advice I could give anyone. And just take your time with it. Put it in, go weekly, be consistent. And the more passion you have in it, the more it'll grow. But the quick fix for things like this doesn't happen anymore. It does, unless you could get a quick fix in the sense that you could do something crazy that people will talk about. You could take your clothes off on a podcast, but that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. That's just, you're getting a gimmick out of it. You're not going to sustain a whole show unless at every show you want to do something crazy or you want to stab your co-host and go. That's a different story. But in general, just stay consistent. Audio first is the biggest thing, and take your time with it. Love it. Nurture it like a kid. Just let it grow, let it breathe.
You're absolutely right. I think first and foremost, if you focus too much on the metrics, you're gonna get discouraged. You gotta be resilient, just like any business, right? You gotta do it because you like doing it, because you learn through that, and because you want to share with your audience eventually what the learnings you're getting from this.
Yeah,
I love this. So Pantelis, tell me a little bit more about what's next for you.
So now I have the tour going on. It's mostly French too. I'm doing a lot of Quebec, and I started adding English dates in Canada. The podcast, I'm doubling down on that. There's going to be more French casts that are coming out. I've had access. The French cast is insane. The numbers that it does, and like the downloads that I get, so it gave me access to all kinds of guests. Like I had the leader of the PQ that wanted to come in, the leader of the Conservatives. I have other like it started with comics, and now it's even politicians just want to come on the show. So it's insane.
That's crazy.
So I'm doubling down. It's crazy. Like I became the guy to go talk to in Quebec, and it wasn't on purpose at all. I had no clue how the French cast was going to go when I started, and now it's transformed into this thing where I had to hire someone who's just going to take care, because I wasn't doing any advertising. It was just reels. I wasn't doing any reels. It was just the podcast. Listen to it or watch it, and everyone was just listening to it. So now I got a guy who handles all the big podcasts. And he's going to take care of all that for me, reels, posting, all that. Because like you're sitting on a gold mine. Like without any marketing, people know the show and want to go to it. Imagine if we actually push it. So I have that. And now I started that thing with a creative agency where we're doing commercials for people. And and that's fun too, because you get to write out good scripts, get to hire. And I know a lot of the big names. So that's the other thing. Because of where I'm at, these other companies, when they're trying to make these commercials and they want to get a certain name, it costs them a lot of money. But when it comes to us, that's the beauty of it. It's like, yeah, that's my friend. All right, look, this is what you're going to get. My budget's limited. It's a fun commercial. Let's just do it. Come on, So they get bang for their buck, and we have so much fun creating stuff with our friends. So it's I'm at a place where I get to use my fun to further my career. And like I told you in the beginning, this life is so short. Life is so short. You're going to make money back, but you're not going to get back.
Times fly. Fly. Yeah. Well, Pantelis, thank you so much for that. You know what? I can't wait to see it growing and continue to grow in the upcoming month. Having Politician, I remember where you had like basically comics, right?
Yeah, it's open micers.
Yeah. That is so cool to hear. And I'm sure it's going to be very inspiring for some of the people who listen to this today. If people want to go check out your schedule or go get information about your businesses, where is the best social media platform they could go to?
I've been very active on Instagram and Facebook, but if you just type in panteliscomedy.com, the link it brings you to the site, and it has everything. It has my dates, my podcasts. So it's so simple, panteliscomedy.com.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for that. And I really encourage everybody who's in the greater Montreal area or wherever Pantelis is doing the show to go check him out. It's really, really a good time. So Pantelis, thank you so much again for being with me today, and looking forward to see you soon.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Thank you so much for being part of the Up at Night family. If you've liked what you heard today, don't forget to rate, follow, subscribe, or leave me a comment below. New episodes of Up at Night drop every week. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single episode. I'm Jeremiah Curvers. Until next time.